The last 3 years, I've had nothing but problems with heat soak and vapor issues with this Edelbrock carb on this GM 350. It's time to upgrade to the Holley Sniper. So just a little background. I did everything to try to deal with the temperature issues, such as a 140 thermostat, which I'm taking out to put the 160 back in for the EFI system. I put in an electric primer pump, which did help with, if the boat sat for a while, I could get it started pretty easily once it was cold. So cold starts are never really an issue, but the heat soak inside the doghouse compartment and just vaporization issues is why we're taking on this project. Got the carburetor off. Now looking to hook up the EFI coolant sensor and consider keeping the old temp sensor in place as well. Looking into some of the spacing issues for shift connection and some of the electrical that's on the top, and getting ready to get rid of the old mechanical fuel pump and regulator. Alright, we've got the fuel pump block off plate installed. That's done. Got our temp sensor installed. And now we're getting ready to put on the throttle body. And the new 160 thermostat is in there, clamped down, ready to go. So I ran into something I wasn't prepared for, and that was the fact that I have a closed cooling system, and I'm running coolant through the exhaust manifold, and that elbow that comes out is not really accommodating the O2 sensor to be in the position that I want. So you can kind of see it's in the way here. The only way it appears to be able to do it is back here. And I was going to take this plug out to try and accommodate being able to remove the O2 sensor without having to pull the elbow, but that's not practical either due to the spacing that's available. So I'm going to grind down the plug a little bit just since I got it out, put it back in, and if the O2 sensor needs to be replaced, it's going to be pulling the elbow off. Now, I was trying to be considerate of the condensation and the 10 degrees that they asked to have the O2 sensor installed with, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Just going to hope for the best. Due to the increased height of the O2 sensor plate, I've had to loosen and raise the exhaust boots for this elbow. I've got the throttle body installed. Now I'm looking at how to configure the return line, since it's on the back of the unit and the tank in the boat is forward of the unit. From there, it's just the kind of the rat nest of wiring. Some of this wiring is going to be used in this, and some of the pigtails are not, but that's just how it comes from the factory. Well, I started to run out of options in the room here with the fuel, so just to give you a heads up on what I did, brought the service line out of the tank. It's pretty normal. And down in here, I got my 40 or whatever micron filter, and then the pump. And then the pump kind of comes out of this cavity that's here. Gonna foam it in for vibration just to seal up the compartment. And then through the water separator, and they also have the 10 micron filter. So I did some research, couldn't really find anything specific that said that I could not, and I saw that others had done the water separator after the pump. Other than that, it's just configuring to keep it away from heater hoses and so on, and the fuel line up to the unit. Now back to a bunch more wiring. Alright, we've got it wired up, ready to do the flush test, see if it powers up properly. Here we go. Alright, so I went through the setup wizard, and once I got completed, pumped a bunch of fuel through. Really no debris other than what was already in the bucket. And now I can cycle the ignition, and fuel comes through. Top one, and then it stops. It's like it's supposed to. Alright, Alright, we got the return line hooked up to the vent line for the tank. It's just the option we chose. Gonna see how it goes. So just for information only, I bought the extension cable for the CAN adapter, or for the control screen for the Sniper. I ended up buying two, or the cable had two male ends to it. So in my true genius fashion, ordered the wrong cable. So what I'm going to do now, the cable's in good condition, it is shielded, so that part worked out good, but I'm just going to solder it together, shrink tube it up, strengthen it up, and move on from that mistake. Alright, the connections are soldered. Got the initial shrink tube over it, gonna melt that down, and then I've got some reinforcement that's farther down on the cable to put over that. And here it is with 3 layers of shrink tubing over the initial connections to strengthen it up and seal it up. Hope it works. Alright, go ahead and turn on the water. Alright, we've got it all hooked up. Water's coming on. This is the official first crank of the Sniper. Hopefully I got it right. Let's see what happens. Here, priming comes on. Well, I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but I'm really happy about it. Alright, now that the belt stops squeaking, look for any leaks, any abnormalities. Pump's going. Here's our return line. Nothing initial. You can hear the injectors going. It's not cooling, so it's going to take a little bit to get the coolant source back there and get the level right, but other than that, success. Throttle response is very impressive. Making sounds I've never heard before. Here's some of the parameters at idle, just on the initial setup. So I've removed the old temp gauge because the Sniper has that included in its panel, and just simply created a Velcro setup. So this is how I ended up mounting the fuel pump through the bilge area from the fuel cell area, and wrapped it in some silicone sheet. Put the hole I drilled out back in, kind of a hole saw cut there, and put some silicone, sealed up the wood, tapped it back into place. Well, here we are for the initial test of the new Holley Sniper on the boat. We're down at the ramp just after 4th of July. Still a little packed because the Monday's off, but had it turnkey in the driveway this morning, so hoping the same thing happens down here. Let you up to speed in just a minute here. Alright, here we go. Well, it turned on. Apparently it doesn't like the battery voltage. Idling wonderful. Alright, we'll get it powered up here in a little bit once it warms up. See what it does. Open up the throttle a little bit. On the water, everything's looking good. Temps come up, idling great. In and out of gear, no problem. Really impressive. Alright, here we go. First run of the Sniper. See how it accelerates.